Okay, so here's the network all connected and up and running. Not a lot on it yet, but a couple of devices in my laptop. But for you non-technical folks, we got the patch panel up here that all the jacks are numbered and they correspond to the jacks in the office. Those are patched into this network switch, which this is a gigabit network switch. This switch is actually almost like 20 years old, but it still works great. And then this one is a 10100 switch, so this one only does 100 megabit, but it's supplying our wireless access points and telephones for with power and network data. And then over here we have a battery backup that's on everything, so for little brownouts and things, it protects the equipment and keeps everything up and running. And then we have Unify business class wireless access points there. They make our life easier because they simply work. And then down here we have a Wi-Fi camera that'll be one of the cameras watching this warehouse, and everything's configured, installed, and up and working. Actually, I got a little bit of configuration to do these switches still yet, but the way it is, it's still working. Now, what's funny about this is one area where my OCD comes out. I like for everything to be labeled, neat. I like to be able to walk people through troubleshooting if there's any problems when I'm not here. And these wires are easy to trace out and feel around and tell what's what. Again, this white one is the one that connects to the internet, so it's easily identifiable in case I have to walk somebody through that. And everything's up and running, looking good. We're ready to move in, and just waiting on the permit. And this morning, I hadn't heard anything, and I really should have asked Lee County how long it would take to get that permit once the inspections were finished last week when I talked to them, and I forgot. I'd hate to bother these folks because they're just covered up. This permit folks are just doing an amazing job, but man, they are covered up with permits from the hurricane rebuild and restoration stuff going on. And so I sent them an email this morning because they have been really quick to respond to my email, and asked how long does it typically take to get the permit issued once the inspections are finished. And received a reply, and look at that, they replied with my permit, so we get to move in. I now have to go rent a truck and start moving furniture, so I gotta go, folks. Well, I got so excited yesterday I didn't even have time to finish the video. After I got the permit, I ran out, rented a U-Haul truck. I only had it for a few hours because it was reserved for the next morning. I had to get it back last night. The guy made me swear I would get it back because he needed it that next morning for a reservation. So I did it, and me and my buddy Rob moved all the stuff from the storage unit into the office. I was a little bit excited, had a little adrenaline rush when I got that email with the permit. And so we've got all of our stuff moved into the office, and Saturday I've been here kind of setting it up now, and we've got Tammy's desk over here, and we're out here in the warehouse. We just kind of got everything unloaded. Now some of this stuff is just tubs of our personal stuff that'll go over in the other warehouse up on a shelf for storage, so we can get rid of the storage units, but at least got everything over here and unloaded, and in here today on Saturday to get the office kind of set up and configured and get things going so I can be at my desk sitting down and working at my computer on Monday morning. So funny story was this morning I got up, fixed me a coffee, slept in just a little bit, got up about 8:30, and boy, I was tired last night, and went out and was drinking my coffee on my lanai. My neighbor and friend of hers was out there, and I said, I told him, I said, I finally got my permit, and we moved everything in last night. And she said, oh, just in time for the weekend. I said, well, now I have to go set up my office. And she said, well, why don't you just do that on Monday? I had to explain to her that that's the point. I have to be able to work at my desk Monday, and that when you're a business owner, there's really no days off. You don't get that kind of luxury to just say, I'll do it on Monday. And it's not, for me at least right now, I don't want to say there's no pressure, because there is pressure. There's a ton of pressure. We have a huge commitment here to get this business going and make it profitable, and not go into bankruptcy. But what I'm just mostly excited to. I could probably take the weekend off and put in extra hours during the week next week and get it done. But the excitement of being able to sit down at a desk and work on Monday after all this time of 4 months of being on hold, I just want to get it done and get things set up. And I can't tell you what kind of, just a wonderful feeling that is. And that feeling was kind of in contrast to what I was feeling the day before, because on Thursday I was sitting here. It's one of these ironic things where I didn't have some of the stuff that I needed to do the work I wanted to do Thursday, and I couldn't find it. I went to the storage unit, I couldn't find it. I drove all the way up to Punta Gorda. It's like 40 minutes away, 30 minutes away. Couldn't find it up there. Looked for it at home. Finally found it in the storage unit here. This is where I was at the first time. It was in a tub that looked different than what I thought it was in, and it wasn't labeled like it should have been. I don't know what happened to the labels on it, but it was labeled when we moved. So I just decided that day that it would be best if I took the rest of the day off. Well, I am going to call it a day a little earlier than I planned. I just don't have the fuel in the tank today. I did a little too much yesterday, so going to go home. But I got in a few hours today. I am at least sitting at my desk. My computer is turned on and it's online. Got a few things set up here, and a little bit of organization, not too much yet, but it's coming together. So I'm going to pack it in for the day, go home, come back tomorrow, and try to get things squared away tomorrow, get the office cleaned up so that I can come in here Monday and sit down and actually work for a change. It'll be the first time, I feel like, in 4 months that I've actually got to sit down and work. Actually, almost 5 months, 4.5 months. And that's a relief to feel that way. This has been a long time coming. Yesterday when I got that email, I texted Tammy and told her that we got the permit, and I told her I was kind of shaking. It was really it just a relief to see that come in, even though I knew it was coming. I've said this before. It's just been the way I have been for many years. I recognize it and I still don't catch on to it, but I handle stressful situations extremely well under pressure, extremely well. But then when they're over, I tend to fall apart a little bit. And I'm going to show you something. I put a comment on the screen right here that I received on my YouTube channel last night. And comments like this are what keeps me going. They just bring, Tammy had picked me up last night. I was a filthy, dirty, stinky mess. You have to understand how much I sweat. And it's even worse down here in Florida for some reason. It can be 68 degrees in our house, and as soon as I try to do something physical, sweat just pours off of me. I don't know if it's the humidity or what, but I've always been like that, and it's worse here in Florida. And so she picked me up. We decided to grab something to eat, and I said, I don't care, I'll go in somewhere and sit down and eat if you want. So we went into Blaze Pizza, and if you haven't been there, it's kind of like Subway for pizza. You go in and tell them what you want, and they throw it in the oven and bake it for you. And while I was standing in line, this comment came through, and I read it, and I had a hard time choking back the tears, because these are the things that really keep me going. They give me motivation. They tell me that I'm doing something right, and I just follow that feeling. And if I don't feel like I'm doing something right, then I change it. So I appreciate that. I really do. I get these kind of comments every now and then, and I just can't explain how it makes me feel, how it makes Tammy feel, and just to know that we're a part of people's lives in this way. And we hope that as we go through this journey of starting a new business and growing a business, and by inviting you in to see what happens, you've already seen a lot, that you'll continue to follow along, and that you gain some kind of perspective, inspiration, and motivation, maybe, that anybody can do anything that they set their mind to. A lot of people would have given up a lot sooner had they gone through the things that we've gone through the past 5 or 6 months trying to get this off the ground. But you have to be stubborn. You have to not give up. You have to just keep going. And I've said this before. A friend of mine, we were working, or, visiting with out in, we met him out in Vegas. We went to high school with him, and we met him and his wife out in Vegas, and we were talking about some of our successes. And he said it, and I said the same thing almost at the same time, was never stop going. And that's kind of going to be the mantra for this company, I think. And we are happy to have you along for the ride. So I will pack it in for the night. And I said the other day, it's not going to be as long as it has been.